Yeah, well, they were playing Joe Hisaishi music as soon as we walked in. It was the Porco Rosso ending theme, and I'm like,
Oh,
"Hey,
nice.
Hell yeah.
this was written by Yoko Kanno."
Oh, was it really?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that was like one of her first ever things was writing the ending music for Porco Rosso.
That's wild.
Yeah, and they proceeded to play a lot of other Joe Hisaishi stuff, and I'm like, I wonder if that's intentional. And
Mhm.
eventually, this place was like really, really traditional, which was cool.
It looked like
everyone,
from the picture that Haley posted.
like everyone in there spoke Japanese, and they wore, you know, yukatas and stuff. And
When you entered, did they say "Irashimase"?
I think they spoke English when we entered, but they at multiple occasions spoke Japanese to us. But they I was gonna say, oh yeah, our waitress, we were talking to her about that we were gonna go to the concert afterwards, and she's like, oh my gosh, have you heard what we've been playing? And we were like, yeah. And she's like, I'm so jealous. And I'm like, oh, why did you get a ticket?
That's funny that they were doing. I mean, it makes sense that they were doing it intentionally because they're like, "Holy shit, Joe Hisaishi."
Yeah, it's so interesting how like he's obviously incredibly popular, but also like there was so much happening in Toronto, especially with Pride and everything, that there's like no reason to assume you'd be there to see Joe Hisaishi, like no matter what. Even though it was
city,
absolutely a sold out show, which is cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it was literally like 99% Japanese. Oh, I shouldn't say Japanese people, but Asian people.
Yeah.
Which was, it was very cool. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
It didn't feel like a bunch of weird weebs.
Yeah,
like,
no, that is the best.
I'm not discluding myself from that category, but you know what I mean. Like it felt like people who were genuinely interested, you know.
Oh my god, Princess Mononoke!
Yeah.
Why does it say Mononoke Heim?
Heim.
Yeah, and the vocalist, who I guess is Italian, she sang the Mononoke Hime theme and everything, and also part of Ashitaka and San. And she sang it in full Japanese. It sounded great. I mean, I obviously can't speak to the correctness of her pronunciation, but I thought it sounded great.
No, that's so cool. I know, like, you know me. I know as soon as Ashitaka and San would have started, I would have just been a blubbering mess.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was like easily 20 minutes of straight Princess Mononoke stuff, like with no stops, which was really cool. I've seen plenty of the sweet stuff before, but it seems like he changes it up, or there's a reorchestration of it every few years.
Just to kind of help keep it fresh.
Yeah, so this one was just like a Ataka the whole way.
Okay.
And like they had the taiko drum set up in the first act, and I'm like, I know exactly what that is for, and it is only going to be used once.
Yeah, is that the bow, bow,
yep.
Bow, bow, bow.
And that part sounded like everything sounded great. They really kicked ass at it.
Yeah, that's so cool.
That one specifically, like Haley and I have talked before about how hard those string runs sound, like the
yeah. Ella,
like
every
the
time
weird
we
like
listen to the soundtrack, Ella cringes when she hears
that. And they do it so much, and it sounded so good, like clearly just very well rehearsed.
Yeah, that's I mean, I'm sure it's like it's probably different for someone who's like actually plays in a professional orchestra, but like just to be able to be like, I'm playing this right now.
Yeah, well, I mean that's
starstruck.
Yeah, it's weird with film music because some of it, especially these days, doesn't work very well in concert.
Yeah.
Whatever do you mean?
Well, you know what I mean, but and this is, you know, no offense meant, I guess, but when we saw the Kingdom Hearts concert in Chicago, it was the Chicago Philharmonic, which honestly I think is just a bunch of freelancers.
Yeah.
There was there were some moments in that where I was like, oof. Especially, it was less the orchestra and more the choir. Because the choir just did not seem like they had a great grasp of it at times.
No.
Which could have been partially because of the way it was written. Like, I wouldn't rule that out, but with that in mind, like, you know, I temper my expectations a little bit for performances of film and video game stuff because they might not be as well rehearsed, because they might be thinking this is going to be easy.
Like, and it's not as like established in the classical canon as other works.
Yeah, like, they haven't auditioned on this shit for 30 years or whatever.
Right.
But no, it was like, it was great. They did awesome.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm so happy it was such a good concert. Not that I was expecting it to not be, you know, but I'm just glad it was such a good experience.
No, it was great to see like an actual major symphony, an established symphony play.
Yeah.
Cool, good film music that I don't get to hear anyone play.
And it's nice too, because like oh shit, I'm in trouble.
Oh my, yeah.
I was like in the middle of trying to drink an antidote, and then she sideswiped me, and I was like, "Oops, I'm fucked."
No, you were at 0 health with venom going on, so you were done.
Yeah. This is fine. I gotta re-up my items anyway. What was I gonna say? But yeah, it is cool when you you go to a concert like that, and you're like, "Wow, these are really like." This is a special degree of player.
Yeah.
Like, they are just top notch.
Yeah, and they didn't seem like, you know, when we clapped, like, I mean, the standing ovation at the end, like, everyone wanted him to encore so bad that the clapping just, like, never stopped.
Yeah.
And, like, it seemed like,
I was in the middle of healing, and then it hit me with a 1-2
I was really close to powdering you. What was I going to say?
Apex for no reason.
They seemed very there for it. They weren't like, you know, like, oh my god, can these weebs shut up? Or, you know, like I'm ready to, my union contract has me only here until 10 or what, you know. Like,
right, yeah.
It seemed like they were down for it.
That's cool. God, I was watching I think it was at like whatever Star Wars celebration thing they do.
What's that?
LA
the
time or
was
whatever.
it when he Williams conducted the Kenobi theme, or?
Oh no! So it was when it was Hayden Christensen and
Hayden Christensen conducted the Kenobi theme.
Yeah, he's surprisingly a very good conductor.
Good for him.
Having no musical background.
Was it the interview?
Yeah, it was like
how they kept interrupting them with the obnoxious applause.
God,
it was so
let
annoying.
them fucking talk.
I know, and they were so like, I know it's in their job probably to be gracious about it, but they were so gracious with how annoying that was.
Oh my God, and especially Ewan McGregor. Like, there was a time where he was like in the middle of asking or like answering a question,
and someone yelled something.
The same dude. It had to be the dude who was just like, oh, and Ewan was like, thank you.
Yeah, right. And they kept like quoting shit at them. It's like, oh my God, shut up.
It's like, Jesus Christ, these are real humans. They aren't just like a fucking meme page.
Yeah.
Prequel fans.
So I was like, oh my God. I was just like, this is terrible. Like,
that's
I forgot
awful.
how just absolutely awful Star Wars fans can be.
Yeah.
I just want to hear them talk about the thing that they're doing, and like, you can't even get 2 words in before someone's like, you were a brother.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Say hello there again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yep. We all watched the movie. We all know.
When did the hello there thing become like the hugest meme? Hey, I KO'd it.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's a not that. It's like, okay, it's a chuckle moment, but it's
funny.
Not that memorable.
Yeah, like, I think it's a fun little, I don't know, character Like, it's a line that has a lot of character because of how it's delivered and everything. But
yeah, well,
I'm like, when did that become the only thing Obi-Wan said, I guess?
Yeah. Well, and I think, doesn't Alec Guinness say that too?
Does he?
Yeah, I think that's when he first meets Luke, or R2. He's like, hello there.
Oh,
It's definitely possible.
okay, maybe. That would make a little more sense.
So
then.
I think that's where that connecting thread comes from, but that definitely doesn't explain why it became a massive meme.
Yeah.
I think it was just like such a goofy moment in the movie that people latched onto it.
It's like minutes before Order 66.
Yeah, basically. But I will say I was very happy to see Hayden Christensen get a lot of love, because that dude got put through it back then.
That's definitely true.
I know.
I think.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I was obviously on vacation, but I saw Obi-Wan discourse happening in our group chat. But
yeah.
I tried.
I've still only watched through episode 4.
Okay, I was going to ask if you finished it, because when I finished it, I was like, I will, out of respect for Tim, I will maintain my thoughts with just a conversation with Duncan.
I mean, I looked it up pretty much, and I'm still trying to debate with myself if I actually care to see it through.
Yeah, that's honestly, that's where I was. Like, I watched the first 3 episodes after you did, so I could like have a conversation with you about it. And then afterwards, like, it finished, and I still went like another like a week or 2 before I was just like, do I even care enough? And then I got on a Star Wars kick again. So yeah, I have finished it.
And what was your overall thoughts? Cliff notes.
Okay, my Cliff Note thought is, it's a shame that the show about Obi-Wan Kenobi is not at all about Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's a show about Princess Leia as a child.
Yes, that was clear from episode like 3,
and
at least.
Yeah, and I rewatched at some point the trailer for Kenobi, like the final trailer that was like, oh, action packed, and it was just like a bunch of stuff that would have been really cool in the show if, like, for this trailer, they obviously just like cropped Princess Leia out of every single shot.
Yeah, she wasn't in any of the promotional material for the show at all.
So instead of it like looking like Obi-Wan being a cool like rogue guy like on the run from the Empire, it's just like, no, actually he's a babysitter.
Yeah,
pretty much.
And like a really uninteresting babysitter.
In a boring way, yeah. Not like in a, and obviously we don't like Last of Us or whatever, but that kind of like Joel Ellie sort of thing. It's not like even that interesting.
Yeah, it's not even the boring archetype like character we've seen 10,000 times. It's like
the Wolverine or Logan type shit.
It's even less than that.
Yeah. It's like 2 characters that are only put together so that they can know each other for the
to connect the
sequel trilogy.
Also, like, I will never understand, like, why was like the third sister or whatever her name is, why was she interrogating Leia like she knows shit? Leia was just in a tunnel and she's like, tell me where the Jedi are, and Leia's like, I will never tell you where the Jedi are. Leia doesn't know. Why would this lady think Leia knows?
She was like, I read up on what ends up happening with her, but I loathed her character because she just she sapped my interest in the show out of it with every single scene she was in. I was like, can this woman shut the hell up?
Yeah, like all of the Inquisitors.
So uninteresting. And I know where her character arc seems to be going, and it's so obvious. And it's like she does all the hammy lines and stuff, like she's like she could pull off the Emperor Palpatine's shtick, but she's just like
which the actress just like
shit.
Yeah, the actress doesn't quite have the chops for it. It's just like the Inquisitors aren't like in the sequel trilogy, so like we know like the fate, like so it's not interesting to see someone try and be like, yeah, I can go toe to toe with Vader on toughness, like.
Yeah, and she's so. I mean, she was constantly doing those like, I can feel your anger, I can feel it. You want to kill me, or like that kind of stuff. I'm like, you are just not Ian McDermott or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that guy can pull off that dialogue because it is so stupid, but he does it well.
And he has the voice for it, and
he can just Shakespearean actor.
Yeah, he could just do like the mumbling menace.
Yeah.
Which, like, it's just like, it's a hard thing to pull off.
Yeah, and I read that the original Inquisitor guy like comes back out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's just like
After he died?
It's like, oh yeah, you stabbed me in the stomach. It's incredible what hate can do to like sustain someone. It's just like, what? I don't give a shit that you're alive. Like,
No, he was such a non-character, and then he died, and I'm like, well, I wonder if that's going to disappoint some people who have watched whatever the hell show he was from, but I
think-
don't care.
I think the Inquisitors are in Rebels. They're also in
Yeah.
Jedi Fallen Order, which was $10 on Steam. So I'm like, sure, I'll get this in KOTOR.
Oh my god! Ow.
Yeah. That was Mino's big issue with it. He's like, they're just doing the plot from Jedi Fallen Order, except it's Obi-Wan instead of the kid.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Interesting.
but obviously it's like more fleshed out because it's a video game and not a 6-episode series.
Yeah. That is interesting though. Yeah, I mean, but even that main Inquisitor guy, like he died so quickly in the show that he wasn't even mildly intimidating. Like it was
Yeah.
just like, wow, what a dipshit. And that's kind of what they all seemed like. They were so not intimidating. They were just annoying, evil idiots.
Yeah.
All I
They could have been the
say is,
freaking
like,
hyenas from Lion King, and at least they would have been fun.
Oh yeah. At least all I can say, because I watched like the big part of the episode, and I was like, you know what, this is nice and cathartic for like 14-year-old Owen. Like,
Was it when they fought? Yeah, because I still
when
haven't
they
seen
fought
that.
and they had like a dialogue with each other. I was like, okay, you know what, this is like, this makes me happy as like 14-year-old.
How bad was the music in that scene though?
It was pretty brutal.
I don't
It
remember.
was-
I don't remember having as visceral reaction to the music after the
It's
scene
not-
on fucking what's the Organa planet that blows up? I always
Alderaan.
Alderaan. I
Alderaan,
don't know
yeah.
why. Alderaan is pretty pivotal. Always forget the name of it. Anyway,
Yeah.
after the
I mean, it does
theme for
only last
Alderaan was
for-
cheeks, I didn't have as visceral a reaction.
And just every time the Inquisitors show up, it is like horribly generic.
I mean,
Oh.
it's a very generic. Like it didn't detract from the scene at all. But obviously,
Yeah.
if it used literally any of the music that linked it to Revenge of the Sith, it would have had
Yeah.
such a bigger impact.
I mean, it's pretty easy to do that. They probably
I mean,
own all of
I've
it
already
now.
I've already seen videos of people rescoring that scene with the Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, well, of course. I know,
It's like,
and
wow, this
I
is
watched
what-
like a
what it
really like shitty. I didn't watch. I read a really like what do you call it? Stimpy IGN article reviewing the last episode. Like it was
Mhm.
just giving it undue praise all over the place.
is. Yeah,
But
we were paid to write about it.
yes, exactly. But like literally in that article, they said like, we do wish the music in the scene where they were fighting was like something John Williams, Duel of Fates, whatever. And I was like, wow, this IGN article said something about the music.
Yeah,
I'm like, that does not bode well for what I would think about it.
yeah. It's very
Oh, you're
Oh,
back.
hello again.
typical music.
Hello there.
Haha.
Yeah.
Ha-ha!
The last scene is like him going, "Hello there," and it's like, "Oh, he did the thing."
But so overall, does that mean, Chris, that you didn't like hate it? You just wish it was what it was supposed to be?
Yeah, I mean, it was just like so mediocre
Kind of forgettable.
and forgettable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I watched Book of Boba Fett since I didn't watch that, and
Oh wow, really?
yeah, and like the first 4 episodes of Boba Fett, I was just like, this show, like, it has some problems, but like I was led to believe it was much worse than this. And then I watched.
And then it becomes the Mandalorian.
Yeah,
Mm.
and it was like, sure, these are like fine episodes of The Mandalorian. There are some. Ahsoka shows up again, and I once again have major issues with the concept of Ahsoka in the Mandalorian verse and her knowing Luke Skywalker, because wow, that's a whole can of worms about her specifically leaving the Jedi Order and then just being around while Luke Skywalker trains the next Jedi Order. Anyway,
Yeah.
and then that was
Yeah, so she's still alive in the sequel trilogy then?
I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
that's
haven't done
dank.
anything to kill her off. So like,
I literally like she just became too popular of a character, but like while they were running the Clone Wars, I was I remember thinking, wow, when's Ahsoka gonna die? Because she was never in anything else
Yeah,
ever again, including like episode 3 and stuff.
yeah, and it's like, oh, weird. It's like Darth Vader never thought about her ever because she was never a character before this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
No, she was
so
his Padawan.
so I watched the last 2 episodes. I was just like, yeah, sure. Like the next season of Mando could be interesting and cool because they did set up some stuff, and it's genuinely like the most unique and interesting thing they have going, even if it has some crutches. Blah blah blah. And then
Mando in general, you mean?
yeah, and then I stopped because I was just like,
Yeah.
anyway, all of these Disney Plus shows are 6 episodes. I'm done. Then I listened to a podcast and they were talking about a few things, and I'm like, I don't remember any of this happening. And then they mentioned something in the last episode, and I'm like, that didn't happen in the last episode. And then I was talking with Duncan, and he was just like, yeah. And then when they wrapped it all up in the last episode, it felt kind of rushed. And I'm like, wait, is there a 7th episode that I didn't watch that I thought it like set up a whole thing for another season of the show that could have some plot lines that go somewhere, and instead they do it in 1 episode?
And it's really bad.
And so I guess they cram it all into 1 episode, and I have not watched that episode
Oh no.
in like the week since I finished episode 6.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember-
way to find that out.
I remember the biggest complaint about the show being that in the end, like, Mando does everything and Boba does nothing, and like to
Yeah.
defeat the final problem or whatever.
Yeah, and it's just like, 1, Boba Fett doesn't do any crime lording for being a crime lord. 2,
Yeah, why are they trying to make him like some noble, like,
I don't know.
I feel like he's like some weird, like, almost indigenous hero kind of guy now or something.
Yeah, and
just
it's like,
because
it's like-
yeah, because the actor is Maori. Yeah,
It's like, when did you become like, I don't know, Dances with Wolves or something?
And they,
Like, I don't know.
They
Right.
do that, except like the only reason it's not as bad as Dances with Wolves is because he's not white.
Because he's not
Yeah.
white. Yeah, this
And-
is true. I will.
and, like,
but still.
They were so close to like it is still the only Star Wars thing ever that has like shown the Tuscans in a good light.
Is not horrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but even then they didn't say what the Tuscan Raiders call themselves. Like we still don't know their own name. Like there's still
Oh yeah.
yeah, like because apparently
the band people.
yeah, the Sand People, and they're called the Tuscan Raiders because when the Republic was doing colonizing, the first camp that they had on Tatooine was called Tuscan, and it got raided. So now the Tuscan Raiders are
Clever.
called that forever.
I mean, that is what a colonizer would do.
It is,
Yeah.
They got that right. Ow.
Um,
I just saw the Rajang leave the locale by like jumping over the highest mountain over it.
good for him. But I don't know,
Everyone's
like
leaving. They're just like, fuck this. Nargacuga, Rajang, Mizusune.
Ow, God.
I've also been getting poisoned like a motherfucker in this. I need to be more careful.
I
about
mean, that is its whole deal. Anytime you see these little fountains that my cat sets up, you can walk into them and get unpoisoned.
Okay, cool.
Oh, there's one more thing I was going to say to wrap up the Boba Fett. Oh yeah, and then at one point when like
damn it.
the crime lords are happening, one, it's because this some new guys are like, oh, Jabba the Hutt's dead, so we're going to run spice through Tatooine now. It's our turf, and like they have a lot of trains, which is weird because they're like an interplanetary like drug smuggling ring. Why don't they just
Yeah.
like fly to the place they need with their spaceships?
And also, isn't Mos Eisley supposed to be like the only city on Tatooine? Like,
I'm
I
fine
think
with
so.
there being like a couple more personally because like please
Anything but original trilogy,
yeah.
like everything.
So the smugglers are like it's a turf war now because you don't want us to run spice for some reason, Boba Fett. And he's like, oh, I'll call some people. And instead of being a bounty hunter who calls up any of his bounty hunter contacts, he like talks to like the 3 people in the town that he has met and hires them. And then
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then I guess
Whoa.
apparently Mando shows up and does it all himself anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's that he's with that one chick from The Mandalorian the whole time, right? I did not find her compelling whatsoever
No, yeah.
in the
Yeah.
show.
And her real life person is a shit piece.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, I think
There's a lot of
it's the
those.
same person I'm thinking of.
Oh no, you're thinking
Maybe.
of like
Ahsoka?
you're thinking of a big beefy arms lady who was like, I was a soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
not-
not
it's not
her.
Oh,
Okay.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
like the sniper lady who was in one episode,
Yeah,
Oh.
who then Mando shoots like in the gut and just leaves her.
yeah.
And then it's
But
like,
then Boba Fett comes and picks her up for whatever godforsaken reason.
yeah, and he's just like, I'm gonna take you to a guy, and he's gonna give you robot guts, which is like, Star Wars needs to be better about the whole.
Robot guts.
And the guy who gives her robot guts is Thundercat.
Yes,
Weirdly enough.
apparently,
Is that right?
yeah.
Why?
So strange. I was like, that is not who I was expecting.
Well, yeah,
to
but
be in
also
the
like,
Star Wars universe.
do you know who Boba Fett's robot butler guy is?
Is Boba Fett of a robot butler?
Well, it's just like, I don't know, it's just like a robot who was in the Jabba Palace, right? It's like a
Okay.
it's basically
IG-88?
it's basically a shitty protocol droid. It's a shitty C-3PO.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, he's voiced by Matt Berry.
Oh my
What?
God.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Is he
Boba.
funny?
Not particularly. He's mostly just like you could tell it's Matt Berry a little bit through like the robot voice filter they put on him, but like they luckily don't like try and force something because of who the actor is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe you did that, Boba.
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 Ah, yes, the Fets. I knew the Fets in Arizona. A desert place not unlike this one.
I wish I was attractive like Douglas.
And then
Eggless.
also there's like a
Oh, you're
shitty,
back.
there's like a shitty like Twi'lek guy who is like just around. He's like the mayor's the mayor's personal assistant or something, and they try and like write jokes for his character, and they're just so god awful. It's just like anytime that guy was on screen, I'm just like, I need this show to shut the fuck up forever. Luckily, he's not around too much, but when he was around, it was bad. I don't know. It's still better than I expected based on everything I heard about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Unless.
Just because my expectations were this is going to be god awful, and it was mostly just like, eh.
That is
Well,
until
that
you
is
eventually
that's
watch
just what they are.
Yeah, there was some fun. Like, it's not as frustrating as my time, the 2 episodes I've watched of Ms. Marvel, which is just...
Oh. People were loving that, it seemed like, on the Twitter.
Yeah, I see I saw a few tweets like, holy shit, this is the first time I've seen like a Pakistani on screen in this way, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like, I love that you are happy for this. I'm happy that people seem to really like the actress who's playing Miss Marvel, but like, they changed so many things about her character.
I know, well, that's what I found interesting was so many people were like, I got over the fact that they changed all of her powers and everything because the show is good.
I do not
So is
get
the
over
show not good enough to get
the
over
fact
that?
that they literally changed everything about her.
Yeah, it's possible I just have too high standards, but it's just like small things. Like her brother, like is always in the comics in extremely conservative traditional Muslim male dress, and like he just dresses like a guy in the show. And like I'm like, it's fundamental to his character, like how deeply ingrained his religion is important to him and all that, and like.
But that wouldn't sell well with the red hot blooded American Marvel crowd.
Yeah, neither the red hot blooded American Marvel crowd or China would like that. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they'd have to put him in a camp.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That
then
doesn't
pretend
seem-
that
Is
they
this thing
aren't.
still not asleep? Oh no, there it is.
I can't relate to this because that guy would be in a camp in my country.
Yeah. And like a lot of like small things, like Jordan and I have mentioned before, when like when she first gets her powers, because of like what is in the larger comics, it turns out kind of a terrorist attack, where it's just like, hey, we're going to turn everyone in the world into not mutants but Inhumans, which are basically mutants. And the first thing she does is like subconsciously she turns herself into like Carol Danvers, Ms. Marvel, fucking Brie Larson. Because what?
Oh, what? Who?
Did a dog?
What? How does it wake up?
I
Take too long?
don't know.
Huh? Weird.
I did not consect it this time, I promise.
Oh well.
I was far away from it, so I didn't wake it up.
Yeah, that was weird.
Anyway, she like subconsciously turns herself into like blonde, hot, young adult American lady, and like it's a whole thing about like her not being comfortable in her skin, and her powers mimic that, and it's like slowly coming to accept that and be comfortable with who she is and how her powers like are body horror, but like instead they're just like she has like a magical bangle that does crystal energy, and I'm just like that doesn't have like the personal like interior.
They just didn't want to animate that, did they?
I think the things are people are like, it wouldn't look good, and also eventually they want to have the Fantastic Four in, and people can't handle two people having the same power. And I'm like, I don't know why we can't handle this. It seems fine.
It's like there's a lot of comic book characters, and many of them have similar or the same powers.
Yeah. And also, who the fuck cares about the Fantastic Four right now? Like,
Well, enough everyone that they're making it again.
yeah.
I mean, they were the
Maybe
hotness in
with
the
John
90s.
Krasinski.
But with Jim from The Office.
Maybe if he's not, if whatever, like a shredded piece of paper.
Oh,
Wait, what?
Yeah, that happens to him. He gets turned into string
Yeah,
cheese.
He is immediately
right.
killed.
Multiverse Madness, just like everyone gets murdered by Witch Lady, right?
Yeah.
Multiverse of Madness was just Disney like being like, "Would you guys like if this guy?"
Yeah, was this? It's like, hey, also
Okay,
remember when Patrick?
We're gonna
Stewart
kill him,
was
but
Professor Xavier.
yeah. What if this guy was in the next one? We're gonna kill him here, but what if? What if? Marvel's what if?
Blackagar Boltagon, huh? We're gonna
Everyone
kill him.
loves him, right? Actually, no, we're not gonna give him his own show. He's just dead.
He's dead.
He's gone.
Yeah. No love for Black Bolt.
Yeah, but I think largely people are like, they might have done Krasinski just for this, and like maybe someone else is gonna be
Yeah.
in the main movie. I forgot. I saw a rumor somewhere. Let's see if I can find it again. Who it was going to be?
I did see Mino sent me a pretty funny edit someone made where it's John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic in the movie saying like the biggest threat to the multiverse is Doctor Strange, and then it cuts to like a clip from The Office, and someone's like, "Why is Jim being so rude to the magician?"
Yeah, he's an interesting casting. Like, I think he's got the look, but John Krasinski as an actor, I don't know. I feel like he's a very like empathetic guy, but not a very like intelligent guy in most of the things.
Yeah, like even in the action movies he's been in, which feels weird. I mean,
Jack Reacher.
he's just too much.
Yeah.
Like we know that is Jim from The Office. He cannot escape it, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
Too,
Right.
like
Not
his
Jack
action movies have
Reacher.
just been like, I'm gonna be a guy who has the guns, right? Like,
Yeah.
Right.
What was
Military.
wasn't Jack Reacher? It was he's a Tom Clancy guy, and I can't remember what the character's name is. Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that Grandpa loved so dearly.
Yep. He loved Jack Ryan.
Our grandpa, I think he was still alive for the second season to air, but he was like, oh, the second season was okay. But he watched the first season of Jack Ryan like 8 times. And it came out like a year before he passed away. He adored that season.
Hey, you know
And
what?
then it was so funny because the
Something
second
good to
one came out. I know. It was so funny because the second one came out and he was like, it was okay. But man, that first season.
Must have built it up too much after
Yeah.
consuming the first season 8 times.
I think he had like just started to get the hang of the fact that you could watch whatever you want on streaming instead of having to like watch TV. And so he just watched what he wanted, which was Jack Ryan, and he put it on repeat for as long
Damn.
as long as he shall live, basically.
Respect the grind, respect the hustle. Apparently, Daniel Craig was the first choice for Mr. Fantastic in that scene, but he denied.
Really?
it
I
because
thought
of
you were going to
COVID.
say Jack Ryan.
I do really like Daniel Craig,
I
but
do
I don't.
like Daniel Craig.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I think like Mr. Fantastic is at least a little bit an asshole. Daniel Craig could be a smart asshole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
certainly.